We were only kids when this whole thing began. Well, co-writing is, in truth, not my favorite thing in the world to do. When it comes to writing songs, I tend to be very controlling. I have a very specific idea in my head, and I want to say what I want to say exactly how I want to say it. And with songwriting, there's usually a certain amount of compromise, a sacrifice that has to happen, and sometimes it's fine, and sometimes it's not fine, and you feel as if you're losing essence of the song you set out to write. So I choose my co-writers very carefully, and Jessica Lindsay was someone who I just when I met her a few years ago in California, and she is one of the kindest, most endearing, most loving, gentle souls I've ever encountered in my whole life. To be perfectly honest with you, and I just felt that if I can write a song with anybody, it's her. If there's anyone who's not gonna try to jam their own sort of idea down my throat, and they're gonna try to help me make my idea the best, it's her. And that was totally the case. So Jess and I wrote What If I'm Right together via Skype from my home in Jersey and her home in LA. And I originally went to Jess with this idea. I told her I've had this idea kind of floating around for years called If I'm Wrong. And she liked the idea, but she immediately said, well, what if we wrote from the perspective of what if I'm right? And had it been anyone else, I would have been kind of, I probably would have recoiled a little bit because, that's like the first thing that you want to do is turn my idea on its head. Oh God, I don't know about this. But she has just such a way of just going about it where she wasn't saying, hey, let's do this. It was, what would you think if we tried this? And so I was open to the idea of trying it. And thank God, because we wound up writing a really great song. And she had a great way of just gently prying into my soul. She said, Mark, I'm sure you had some sort of feeling or story behind this idea. What was it? And so suddenly there I am having to kind of bare my soul. And so I'm telling her, this story of scorned love, because, I have so many of those. And she was taking very meticulous notes on like a Google Drive document. So I'm like seeing her notes in real time. And once I finished telling her everything, she just sort of said, Mark, there's a lot here. And she had this awesome piano melody that she just coughed up out of thin air. And she just sort of said, why don't you try to take some of these notes I've compiled here and maybe form them into verses? Now you have kind of words in front of you. Let's see what that does. And it just started flowing very easily. We very, very quickly had a verse, and then we had a chorus, and so it only took like 2 or 3 sessions for us to get on Skype and finish the song. And what a beauty. What a beauty, man. It's a song I'm really, really proud of. Of all the songs I've recorded on all the albums, What If I'm Right is right up there as I think one of the best songs I've ever recorded. I loved that song. I loved the feeling of writing it with her. And I love Jess Lindsay. I just think she's fantastic. That's all you have to do.